Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Instead of talking about, calories and tracking and weighing and things like that, I thought we might look at my Dexa scan results. So if you haven't heard what a Dexa scan is, essentially it's a machine that they use to look at traditionally bone health. So they look at your bone density to see if you have osteoporosis or something similar. But the great thing about these machines is that they can also tell you about your body fat percentage. So this is something I had done about 8 months into my weight loss journey. I was kind of curious to see what my body fat was. I estimate that my body fat was probably in the 40% range. That was my treadmill powering off. I did my 10-minute walk after dinner tonight. But I imagine that I was somewhere probably in the 40% range. So I wanted to see, what my progress was. I also wanted to see, bone density. I was a little bit curious about that too. So I looked up a company called Dexafit in Dallas, and they did this scan for me. So this was actually a really affordable thing to do, and I think it was definitely worth my time. So let's take a look we'll just review their website real quick and look over some things, and then we'll go through the report and I'll show you what my metrics look like. So let's take a look at it. All right, so here is the website of Dexafit. There may be other companies that do this. I'm not really sure. This was just one I found online that seemed to have an offering for doing this Dexa scan, and there were other machines around that could do this scan, but they were typically for medical purposes, like doctor ordered kind of thing. But here's the machine right here. So essentially the whole experience was I signed up online, I got an appointment, I showed up, didn't have to be fasted or anything like that. I laid down on this table, and this little piece right here essentially moved up and down, like side to side, down, side to side, down, and it just kind of did that throughout my whole body as I was laying flat on my back. It's not like an MRI where, it's sometimes with an MRI, you can be there for like 30 minutes lying still. You only have to lay there still for about 5 or 7 minutes, and it went by really fast. I was just kind of watching that thing go. There is radiation involved, so that is something to be aware of. So this is similar to an X-ray. It does use radiation for that. But anyway, so it took about 10 minutes total, and I believe I paid $100 for it. Now you can buy like a 3-pack of scans and get it cheaper, but to me, I felt like maybe I might get a scan once every year. 6 months seems too soon. Maybe I'll do 8 months. I'm not sure, but just to make sure I'm going in the right direction, maybe. So anyway, it spits out a report, or they also have a mobile app. So let's take a look at that. So here is the information here. So this is the report that it spit out. So they have a mobile app for Android and iOS, so you can download that and kind of track it. What's cool is as you get more scans, it builds in history. So similar to like a blood lab or something like that, where you can see your blood results over time, they have something similar to that. Okay, so my overall body composition is in fair shape. I was 185 pounds, so that was roughly 38 pounds less than I was when I first started. So not too shabby. It says next 90 days. I think every 90 days is probably a bit too aggressive. Like, I'm sure they want you in there every 90 days, but every 3 months, I'm not sure that that would be something that would be probably too soon for me. I think maybe 6 or 8 months would be better, but that's just my opinion. But I've only had one test, so there is no comparison here. But anyway, let's go through it. So total mass, 185 pounds. And I put that my target was, or it believes my target is about 169 pounds. To me, that's a little on the light side. I'm aiming to be in the mid 170s. I just like a fuller look. Plus, I like carrying a little bit of body fat for a lot of different reasons. One, hormones. Two, if I get sick or something and I can't eat, I don't want to lose a lot of muscle, right? I would prefer for my body to use a little bit of fat. So, I kind of want to stay in the 175 range. Instead, what I'd rather do is I'd rather increase lean mass, which is estimated here. So overall, before I get to that, my body fat percentage was 22.2%. And I said that my target was 15%. Now, I think in retrospect, when I put 15% body fat, I think that that might be a little aggressive. For some people, we're all not created kind of equal, right? We're all a little bit different. And some people carry a little bit more fat than others, and that's, totally fine. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. So I think 15% might be a little bit aggressive for me. If I got down to like 18%, I'd probably be pretty happy there. That's one thing that I think is kind of tricky about this whole journey is that, in my mind, I was like, you know what, it'd be cool to have a six pack. But my body may not want to have a six pack, or a six pack. It might want to carry a little bit of body fat in my torso, even though everything else is super lean. So you don't really lose body fat throughout your body, right? And I'll show you that here in a minute. You carry fat in different places, so different appendages will carry fat a little bit differently. So I had 138 pounds of lean mass. So that means I have 138 pounds of muscle on my body. And so that showed up in kind of the upper safe range. So that's pretty cool. Now I did have 2.44 pounds of what's called visceral fat. So that's the fat that's in your midsection and around your organs as well. And that's what's considered to be the most riskiest type of fat. So I'm in the higher risk range. Probably that's about right because I was like obese for like 10 years. So, there's that. So let's take a look at this page. So this is telling me that out of the 185 pounds that I weigh, I've got 41 pounds of body fat, and then I've got 138 pounds of lean muscle tissue. So that's pretty cool. It's good to know kind of how much fat I have on me. But yeah, 41 pounds of fat still on my body after losing 40 pounds or 38 pounds. That's pretty crazy. Body fat in my arms looks like it was 18%, 18.5%. So hey, it's under 20% for my arms. So my target coming in here is I wanted to be around 20% body fat. And so this is good to know that in some of my body parts, I'm actually under 20%. So that's pretty cool. Lean mass, I've got 17.7 pounds of muscle in my arm, and it looks like I'm 3% over the average of your peer group. So I would say I have average arms. Yeah, I think that's about true. And then looks like, but on a fat percentage, it looks like I'm 9% under the average for your peer group. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what peer group means. Like, I don't know if that's just their customers or if it's like some kind of weird index that's out there on the internet. I don't know what peer group is, but so that'd be kind of interesting for me to maybe follow up and ask them. All right, body fat. So here is where a bulk of my fat is. It's in my trunk, my torso. So in my torso, I'm actually 25.7% body fat. And so I'm 7% under the average for my peer group. So a little bit not as good as my arms, but still pretty good. And then I've got 68 pounds of lean mass in my trunk. Now, I imagine that probably includes like organs and things. So, it would be cool, like, I guess, well, I don't know if it'd be cool, but if my pec muscles and my abdomen or my abdomen muscles and my back muscles all equaled like 68 pounds, I think I'd be a pretty big dude. But anyway. And then in my legs, I am 18.2%. Now, this shocked me that my legs have almost as much body fat as in my arms because I feel like my legs are pretty lean. Like, it's really hard for me to pinch body fat on like my thighs and things like that. And my calves. So this was surprising to me. Now, the only thing I can figure is that maybe because your legs are larger surface area, so those fats more spread out evenly. Maybe that's why. I'm not sure. But in lean mass, I've got 45 pounds of lean mass. So I'm 7% over the average in my crew. So it looks like my legs are kind of like my stronger point, which is good because I've been focusing on that during my resistance training. And then down here, it kind of gives you some other statistics that you can take a look at. And I'm not too up on this. I just look at the smiley faces. I mean, if it's smiley, I think I must be doing something good, right? And you can read about all these things, appendicular lean mass index and all those things. etc. In visceral fat, though, this is that fat that's around my organs, right? And I did okay on that one signified by the meh face, I think is what that's called. But looks like I'm 2.44 pounds. So we'll see, as I lose a little bit more weight. I don't think I'm going to lose a whole lot more weight. I'm going to concentrate on more building muscle, because technically if I build more muscle, that should turn into like a fat burning machine, I hope. That's what all the things I've read about say. So we'll prove that theory. But yeah, getting this fat down is definitely something I want to do. It looks like I am more android than gynoid. I don't really know what the heck this means, but anyway, it's good to know that I'm an apple, not a pear. Anyway, okay. Bone mineral content. So this was another thing that I was very curious in. I did want to know like how good of shape my bones were in. And it looks like my bones all up weigh 5.3 pounds. That's kind of just cool to know. And it looks like I'm in the lower normal, I'd say, range. So I have some bone density problems here that I need to take a look at. And that's probably honestly from like a lack of calcium. I wasn't making a conscious effort to take in calcium. I am tracking that micronutrient now, but at the time I really didn't really track it. Now, what's funny about this is I'll make a little remark here. I tend to like this picture of me better than this picture of me. I don't know what it is about this picture, but it looks like I've got like this like blubber right here. But I think the red is actually like fat store, and then the green is muscle tissue. So you can see like I'm still carrying a bit of fat, kind of probably in my pec area here, where I did have quite a bit of fat there, and then in my love handle area. Although my love handles have kind of reduced down quite a bit, and it looks like I got a little bit in my hips. That's okay, because you never know when the kid's going to throw a hip check at you. You got to have a little padding there, right? I think that's all right. All right. So skeletal health. Yeah, it looks like I need to up my vitamin C. But anyway, this is, I think, the end of the... Yeah, so that's the end of the report. The app actually lets you do a lot more things. It lets you kind of pivot in and take a look at those different things. So why don't we go over and take a look at that now? Here's the app. This is the Android app. So if you're an iPhone user, it's probably going to look a little bit different. But this is the Android app. And so you can see my biological age. It says that I'm 45 years old. So I will take that any day of the week. So I'm 2 years younger. Or actually, I'm 3 years younger than my real age. Now, the cynic in me probably says, I wonder if I walked in there 8 months ago and I did this same scan, would it tell me I was a couple years younger? Because I'd probably be willing to bet I'd come back and try to get like it, like I'd be like, ooh, that test was awesome. I'm 3 years younger or 2 years younger than it actually read. So maybe this is all just a scam to get you to buy more stuff. I don't know. But anyway, it says that I'm 45 years old. Great. Okay. All right. So then along the top, you've got a bunch of different things you can take a look at. So I can click on body composition. There's that picture of me that I don't like there. There's my history. And then it's kind of cool. Like you can go in here and you can adjust like what you want it to be and set goals, which is pretty neat. They also do a VO2 max test. So you can test your oxygen output and that actually will tell you your cardio fitness, which is pretty neat. So they do a bunch of different tests. You can do lab results like food sensitivity. That's a test that I've thought about maybe doing. So basically all the services that they have at Dexafit are available via the app, which is your results are all in one place, which is pretty cool. But pretty neat little app. Actually works really well. I loaded it up on my phone. My results were there waiting for me. So a pretty snazzy app. If I say so myself. So overall, like my experience with Dexafit was very positive. I didn't wait a long time. They had it like, I could have had the Dexafit, the Dexa scan the next day if I wanted to. They had lots of open availability. Their facility was really clean. It was nice, like an office building. Just go in there, get your scan, get out. Took me like 20 minutes tops. Took me longer to drive there. It's like an hour and a half from my house. But anyway, I think it was worth it, just understanding what my numbers were, etc. So let's cut back to the video and just talk about a few things and wrap this thing up. All right, so there you have it. That's the insight look at my Dexa scan that I had done earlier this month. It was about 2-3 weeks ago. So pretty cool. Like I think that was definitely an experience that I'd like to do again. Again, probably in 6 to 8 months, I'll check it again. But I definitely recommend doing something like that. I think it's very insightful in terms of what it can tell you about like where you carry the fat and like your fat percentage and visceral fat and bone density. I think that's all great numbers to kind of have. Throughout my whole life of like general checkups with my doctor and things, I've never known what my bone density is. So maybe this is a way to maybe catch something happening outside of a test that's normally gathered up. So, when to do this? In retrospect, I kind of wish maybe I had done this before I lost weight so that I would know. Now that depends on the kind of person you are, right? If you're kind of in a vulnerable state about your weight and you're a little bit insecure about it, doing a scan like this, I don't know, it could affect you both ways. I kind of see it either way. One, it could encourage you and get fired up and say, you know what, I'm going to go out and kick this number's butt and I'm going to do better and, get you fired up. Maybe put it up on your fridge or something like that. I don't know. So where you can see it every day and just know you're driving towards a better goal. Although some people might see it and see a massive discouragement and just say, wow, that hill is just too high to climb. And what I would encourage you to think about with this whole journey, and what I've tried to keep the mindset of, is that this is just another challenge in your life, and it doesn't have to happen overnight, right? You could try for a couple weeks and fail. It doesn't mean that you get one shot and not be able to lose weight again, right? So I definitely think that if you do something like that, see it as something that it's just like a baseline. It's just data, right? It's just a baseline of where you're at and what you're starting from. And when you get that scan again in 6 to 8 months, if you lost 20% of your body fat, or if you lost half of the 50% of that total value, I mean, if I was truly in 40% body fat range and now I'm 22, I mean, that would be a major milestone that I can kind of put up there. Yeah, the scale is one milestone, but just knowing like body fat percentage is another one. The other thing about doing something like this would actually show you your lean body mass versus then and now. And so that could be also a good kind of barometer to help you understand if you're losing muscle. And if you are, what can you do? And think about some things that you can do to adjust that to where you conserve more muscle. Maybe that's adding a strength training or something like that, to eating more protein, perhaps. That's something that you can work with your doctor on. So I think that wraps it up. So Dexafit, I definitely think that it's a cool thing to do. It gives you some good data points, and maybe it can be enough to either motivate you or just get a baseline of where you're getting started. But I would say to close out today, I would just say start slow, right? Track your calories. Just understand what you're eating. Weigh your food. Understand what you're eating, how many calories you're eating per day, how much fat you're eating, how much protein you're eating, and carbs. Understand those things and just kind of get a baseline, and then just go at your own pace and find things that you enjoy. If you enjoy walking, go on walks. If you enjoy a recumbent bike, ride a bike. Just find something that you can do to that you feel like you can build a habit out of. That 10-minute walk after every meal, I've talked about that before. Stan Efferding's approach, I think that's super valuable. So all those things, I think just take it slow though. Even if you get 5,000 steps and you were only getting 2,000, that's 100% and over 100% increase, right? So you're already making progress. Try to see it that way. Don't think about things in terms of, oh, I'm not getting 10,000 steps, 5,000 may not be enough. You're still getting more active. And that's the point, right? Get more active, and you're going to feel better, I promise. Change some things about your diet, eat a little bit less, understand the things that you're eating and what the caloric value is of those, get a little bit more active, and then stone by stone, you will build your plan, and I know you can succeed. So keep up the great work. I know you can do it. I will see you in the next video.